On what should have been a peaceful day, the city of Minneapolis awoke to a sense of calm that would soon be shattered. The sun rose over quiet neighborhoods, and families prepared for another ordinary morning, unaware of the darkness about to unfold. Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis was shattered by a mass shooting, a tragedy that would send shockwaves through the entire community and beyond. The church, a place of worship and sanctuary, was suddenly transformed into a scene of chaos and heartbreak. 23-year-old Robin Westman, a former student, targeted the church and school, killing and wounding many, most of them children. The attack was swift and merciless, leaving families torn apart, and a community struggling to comprehend the senseless violence. The attack was deeply personal. Robin's mother worked at the church, making the betrayal even more profound. For those who knew Robin and her family, the pain was almost unimaginable as trust and safety were shattered in an instant. Westman had meticulously planned the assault, exploiting her knowledge of the community and its vulnerabilities. She knew the routines, the schedules, and the places where people felt most secure, turning that familiarity into a weapon. The aftermath was chaos. First responders rushed in, parents searched desperately for their children, and the community's sense of safety was destroyed. Sirens echoed through the streets as neighbors tried to make sense of the horror unfolding before their eyes. As the names of the victims emerged, the true scale of the tragedy became clear. Grief-stricken families gathered at makeshift memorials, clinging to one another for comfort as the city mourned together. The shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church marked a day of lost innocence and left Minneapolis forever changed. The scars of that day would linger, a painful reminder of how quickly peace can be shattered and how deeply a community can grieve. Robin Westman grew up in a devout Catholic family, where faith was not just a belief but a way of life. Sundays were reserved for church and every meal began with prayer. The Westman household was filled with religious symbols, and Robin's parents instilled in her a deep sense of tradition and discipline from an early age. Her early years were shaped by a strict religious routine and homeschooling, which kept her world small and tightly controlled. Robin spent most of her days at home, learning from her mother and reading scripture, rarely interacting with children outside her family. But when her parents divorced at age 9, Robin's sheltered life was upended. The separation brought instability, frequent moves between homes, and a fractured sense of belonging. She often felt like an outsider, never quite fitting in wherever she went. After returning to Minnesota, Robin enrolled at Annunciation Catholic School. It was here, in 7th grade, that her fixation on school violence began to take root, a troubling interest that set her apart from her peers. Her high school years were marked by turbulence and upheaval. Robin bounced between multiple schools, struggled with her identity, and showed signs of self-harm. There were even mental health calls to police, underscoring the seriousness of her struggles. Yet, amid these red flags, Robin's life was not without moments of hope and normalcy. After she transitioned and began identifying as female, she experienced a newfound sense of acceptance and even happiness, at least on the surface. Classmates remembered her as becoming more outgoing and social, joining conversations and making friends more easily than before. But beneath this new confidence, Robin's inner struggles never truly disappeared. She often withdrew into herself, wrestling with feelings of isolation and sadness that she kept hidden from those around her. The contrast between her cheerful public persona and her private pain became more pronounced, hinting at a growing darkness that few could see. Ultimately, Robin's journey through adolescence was a complex mix of self-discovery, hidden turmoil, and the search for a place to truly belong. Robin's journals, written in the months before the attack, reveal a mind consumed by hate, nihilism, and obsession with mass murder. She methodically studied past shootings, documenting her plans and expressing self-loathing alongside love for her family. Her writings showed deep confusion about her gender identity and a delusional belief she was dying of cancer. These journals were both a blueprint for violence and a window into her unraveling psyche. Robin's sense of hopelessness and detachment from humanity fueled her deadly resolve. The final entries marked her commitment to a path of destruction. In the months leading up to the attack, Robin's life began to unravel in ways that were both subtle and deeply unsettling. She systematically cut ties with her old routines and relationships, quitting her job, ending her long-term relationship, and withdrawing from the few friends she had left. The people around her noticed her growing distance, but no one could have guessed the darkness that was taking hold. Robin packed up her belongings and moved out of her apartment, leaving behind the life she had built over years. The act of moving was more than just a change of address. It was a deliberate step toward erasing her past and severing any remaining connections. Isolated and adrift, she became increasingly obsessed with stories of violent criminals, spending hours online reading about their motives and methods. At work, she began to share disturbing comments, hinting at her fascination with violence, though most dismissed it as dark humor or stress. Her abrupt departure from her job and the quiet acquisition of firearms were decisive, calculated steps. Each action brought her closer to the plan she was forming, a plan that no one around her could have imagined. Robin's ability to mask her intentions from family and friends revealed a chilling disconnect from those who cared about her. She became a stranger in her own life, drifting further from the people who might have helped her. Convinced she was terminally ill, Robin saw no hope for herself or for anyone else. This belief fueled her sense of desperation and justified, in her mind, the terrible path she was about to take. Each decision she made, each relationship she ended, each step she took away from her old life, isolated her further, until she was utterly alone, consumed by the massacre she had long envisioned. By the time Robin entered Annunciation Catholic Church, she was a shadow of her former self, her humanity eclipsed by the darkness she had embraced. In the aftermath, the question remains, how were the warning signs missed? Teachers, police, and acquaintances saw fragments of Robin's distress, but no one connected the dots. She masked her turmoil, appearing quiet and unremarkable to those around her. The tragedy underscores the need for better mental health support and early intervention. Robin's story is a stark reminder of the dangers of untreated mental illness and isolation. We must foster stronger community bonds and destigmatize seeking help. Only by recognizing subtle signs and supporting those in pain can we hope to prevent future tragedies.